السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي خلق النفس وسواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها وتوعد بالنار من دساها ووعد بالجنة من شرفها وزكاها. وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وإمامنا وأستاذنا وقدوتنا محمدًا صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم عبده ورسوله الذي ابتعثه ربه بأوضح الشرائع وأجلاها، والذي أرسله ربه بأزكى الملل وأشرفها وأعلاها، والذي جاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى حتى هز دولة الشرك ومن على الأرض ومحاها. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار على نهجه وتمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, respecting parents is one of the most significant aspects of Islam, as we know. But we often speak of the role of the mother, which is fine, but rarely speak of the role of the father. This khutbah, inshallah, I will reflect on the role of the father in our life as the one who fought for us, as the one who taught us the most, who were for us through hardships, who laughed with us during the good times, who put up with us in our off days, who provided for us financially and academically, and the one who have been with us almost throughout most of our life. And I say that without the father, most likely, most of us would not be in the places where today, yet many teenagers do not treat their fathers in the manner they deserve and relentlessly fight with them. Indeed, many of them today have forgotten respect to their fathers. Whether they mean it, like deliberately, or without knowing. This can be done even without feeling. Why without feeling? Because those did not train themselves enough to understand that they do need to respect their fathers even when they say no. They can say no in many ways. They can say no in a positive way and in negative ways. So why don't we train ourselves to always be positive when we are dealing with the father? Okay, and you may say how. Let me bring to you this short story which can help us understand the issue of how to respect fathers. Of course, some of you may say, why not I'm talking about fathers and mothers? So the subject is fathers. So if I did not mention anything about mothers, it means because of the subject. Otherwise, the mother also has the same place in Islam. But in this story, it says that an old man was sitting in the courtyard of his house along with his son, who had received high education And suddenly, a crow is a bird, طير al-ghurab. A crow came and rested on a wall of the house. So the father asked the son, "What is that?" And the son says, or replied, "It is a crow." And then the father did not say anything. But after a while, he asked his son the same question, "What is that?" And the son replied, "It is a crow." So everything is fine here. Now, after a few minutes, the father asked his son the third time, "What is this?" And the son said, "Father, I have just now told you that this is a crow." After a while, the old father again asked his son on the fourth time, "What is this?" And at this time, some expression of irritation was felt by the son's tone when said to his father with a rebuff. It's like when the Quran said, "Don't say oof," that's rebuff. And he says, "Father, it is a crow, a crow." And a little after, the father again asked his son for the fifth time, "What is this?" And the son this time was a little bit agitated. So he says, "Father, I told you many times that it is a crow. Are you not able to understand this?" The father did not say anything, but after a little later, the father went to his room and came back with an old diary. This mudhakkirat, something sometime we write. So old, something he wrote long time ago. And he brought it, and in front of his son, he started to read what is written in it, something already written years ago. And opening a page, he asked his son to read it. He said, "I want you to read this." And when the son read it, he found the following words were written. The father wrote, "Today, my little son was sitting with me in the courtyard when a crow came there. My son asked me 25 times what it was, and I told him 25 times that it was a crow. And I did not at all feel irritated. I rather felt compassion for the innocent child." So the father then told his son the difference between what happened today, what has happened today, and what he wrote 20 years ago. And he said, between a father and a son's attitude, while a little child, he asked me this question 25 times, and I felt no irritation in replying to the question 25 times. And when today I asked him the same question only 5 times, he felt irritated and annoyed. So that's what I meant when I say that you can respond, but be careful the way you respond to your father, no matter. And think well of this human being who spent a great deal of his life working hard, fighting his way in life to provide for his family. Understand that the strength, the power can be different when they grow old. And that's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرِ, when they grow old, pay attention to them. Okay? Whatever happened, do not say of be irritated, feel irritated of what they say. And even in the story of Alqamah, who at his time of death, he was not saying the shahada, or the Sahabi, when his mother came to him and she said, I will not eat until you reject Islam. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about that, He says, if they order you, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ لِتُشْرِكَ بِي, if they order you to reject your faith, do not, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. Okay, do not obey. We're not saying that you have to obey, but saying, صَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. صَاحِبْهُمَا means be nice of how to say no to them. There are many ways. So let's move now to the Sunnah, something that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said about the role of the father. And this is a hadith, has two parts. One part which is authentic. It says Sahih. This is the man who came to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, Inna abi akhadha mali, that my father took my money. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam responded, he said, Anta wa maluka li abik. You and the wealth you have belong to your father. This part is authentic. In the middle, there is a story which Ibn Majah mentioned that it is sahih, but most of the scholars of hadith, they say it is da'if, weak. So I'll mention it as is narrated in Sahih in Ibn Majah, rahimahullah. So in the hadith says that the man came to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and says to him, Inna abi akhadha mali. My father is using my money in a way that he is taking the money. He's not using, he's abusing, like he's taking too much. So he wants to understand from Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about that. And that's very important, that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to him, go and get me your father. He did not say, well, oh, your father is doing wrong. He said, get me your father. And the man went to bring his father. And on the way, the father, knowing about the complaint, of course, said in himself something without moving his lips, because his son is walking next to him. So he said something just to himself. So at that time, Jibreel, alayhi salam, came to al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and says to him, I'll just mention the meaning of that. He said, when the Father comes to you, ask him about something he said to himself without moving his lips. So they arrived, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to the father, your son believes that you are taking his money. And the father said, ask him, ask my son, O Rasulullah, do I spend it except on one of his aunts from the father's side, and that's Khala and Amma, from the father's side and the mother's side, or on myself? And at that, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, okay, forget about that. Tell us something. Tell me something, or tell me about something you said to yourself on your way. And the father said, by Allah, O Rasulullah, Allah continues to increase my faith in you. Wallahi ya Rasulullah, ma yazalu Allahu yaziduna bika yaqina. And I will tell you what I said to myself without moving my lips. He said, I was saying about my son, غدوتك مولودا وعلتك يافعا تعل بما أدني إليك وتنهل. That is, I nourished you when you were a baby, and I looked after you in care as you grow up until you became an adolescent. You lived, you survived upon what I worked for, and I strove and sacrificed my body and time and wealth so that you may live healthy. إذا ليلة نابتك بالشكوى لم أبت لشكواك إلا ساهرا أتململ كأني أنا المطروق دونك بالذي طرقت به دوني وعيني تمهل تخاف الردى نفسي عليك وإنها لتعلم أن الموت حتم مؤجل. So let's go to the meaning of that. So whenever a night passed you, when you were ill and sick, I was the first to be up, carrying you and looking upon you with my heart, afraid if an atom or a little breeze would harm you in any way. I couldn't sleep while seeing you sick until you slept, and then I slept. And so my eyes will always overwhelm with tears, but you never knew. فلما بلغت السن والغاية التي إليها مدى ما كنت فيك أؤمل جعلت جزائي غلظة وفظاظة كأنك أنت المنعم المتفضل فليتك إذ لم ترع حق أبوتي فعلت كما الجار المجاور يفعل. You're like you treat me like you are good with my neighbor. So let's go to the meaning. And when you finally reached the adulthood, a day of which I have all my life anticipated in my heart to see you rich and rejoice, you made my punishment harsh and rude, as if you are the most gracious one. I wish you, if you did not observe the right of my father, I did as the next door neighbor does. And this, as I said, when you look at the story, even though that this part, the middle one, if you, it sounds, you may say it is daif, it is weak, but if you look at it, you will find that every father today, most likely, most of them, they confirm it. Not as a Sahih Hadith, but they confirm it as it. This is the true feeling of a priceless father. So today, teenagers, adult, grown up, we always we need to take into consideration, train ourselves, learn the positive language that we need to communicate with our fathers and our mothers also as well. And let me tell you, I read stories, many fathers who were on an addict. When they grow up and they have children, they quit drugs. I read stories about fathers, how they quit alcohol when they grow up because they have a child and they don't want their child to be like them. So, and they say, these fathers say, yes, we were without feeling, followed this path, but we don't want our children to follow the same path. And they struggle to provide their children with the right way of life. But I know a story of a young man. When they grow up, in this society, sometimes college boys, or when they graduate, they live with a woman as a girlfriend. And this father begged his son. He said, just have Islamic marriage. Let me feel good in my life, that I truly raised a Muslim child. But the young man, he said, I don't want to be hypocrite. Hypocrite? Is this hypocrisy? So I don't want to be hypocrite. This is the truth. I believe in that. And so they think only of themselves. A Muslim, I visited in the hospital a patient. He was a Muslim. He was a gay. And he tried to commit suicide because his father would not approve of his way of life. And while talking about him, with him, I said to him, I want you to think of your father as one who struggled to provide you a good life. And now your father is in an age, old age. You break his heart, and you want to break his heart twice, but you want him to approve your way of life. And as a young man, you still in the beginning of your life, you are unable to make this thing as a private. Make it personal. You don't have to teach others. You don't have to seek the approval of others. And even Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, إِذَا بُلِيتُمْ, if you are affected with ma'asi, bad things, say, فَاسْتَتِرُوا. Don't make it public. You cannot. You are so I said to him that you are the young man, and you are unable to tolerate this old man. And if this is your father, how about your mother? So it is a fact that teenagers today need to get together, just together, and discuss how we respect our parents without hurting ourselves. You know, teenagers, young adults, they have their principles of life. It could be contrary to Islam. You may see them as they are doing something crazy, but I tell you, I know many young people, when they grow up, because their parents put in them the foundation of the faith, then they went back to Islam. So if we harass them, it's not going to work. But if we educate them, it may work. So the teenagers themselves, the young adults themselves, need to be together and discuss how can we respect our parents without, affecting our life, and convince themselves that one day they will be doing the right thing, especially when they reach the age that they have to get married and they think there are children coming. Then they go back and remember all the ideals they heard from their parents, and they will try to straighten up themselves. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all to Sirat al-Mustaqim. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا كما أمر، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، وعباد الله اتقوا الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله. من يهده الله فلا مضل له، ومن يضلل فلن تجد له هاديا. So, brothers and sisters, remember when you come to this place, that this place, the administrators are doing great job in providing for the community. So remember that, and I urge you just to consider giving a gift, a donation, a financial help to this house of Allah as you leave this masjid. And outside there are boxes, and even there are credit card machines for those who wants to use their credit cards. So Brother Kareem, he texted me things and he asked me to read it during the khutbah. So I would like to read it as is. And it says, tomorrow, 1:30 to 3:30, we have a free dental screening clinic here at ISBCC, provided by Boston University. So come, get your teeth checked for free, and bring your kids too. And the second announcement, there is a new ISB scholarship program for graduating high school students. There is an easy application process on our website, and there will be 8 awards ranging between $1,000 and $5,000 per student. Please encourage any high school senior to apply. And the third is the possible zone. So between two parentheses. The possible zone is holding a summer session to Boston Public Schools students where our Muslim brother Ghayath Halwani leads the program. Our high school students get paid a stipend to explore activities they are interested in and create something out of it. Check the possible zone flyers on the table outside at the back or ask our staff for details. And number 4, Sheikh Hassan Saleh and Sheikh Khalid Nasr are visiting the ISBCC tomorrow, Saturday, June 25th, for a night of Quran, reflection, and nasheed. So join us for a great remembrance and refreshments night. Also join us this Eid for an amazing dinner and sunset cruise on Boston's premier boat. So this is on Sunday, July 10, inshallah. So the thing here that you need to book your tickets in advance. Finally, please stay vigilant and keep an eye out for anything or anyone that would harm our beloved house of Allah, this masjid. And if you see something, please report it to our security team. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all, and may Allah guide all of our youth, young Muslims, and may Allah put guidance in their heart. And may Allah help them achieve their goals and face the challenges of life. Ya Allah, cure humanity of the disease of hate and racism. Ya Allah, help us honor our parents, perform acts of love and kindness, visit the sick, and pray with sincerity. I'm aware today that there are people who are unable to come, or there are people who have their loved ones at hospitals. So I pray for them. May Allah may Allah grant you comfort, and may Allah grant your loved one healing and strength. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك عبدك ونبيك ونعوذ بك من شر ما عاذ به عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونسألك أن تجعل كل قضاء قضيته لنا خيرا يا رب العالمين اللهم اصرف عنا شر قساوة القلوب وتغير النفوس ولا تجعل لنا حاجة عند أحد من خلقك يا الله اللهم اشف كل مريض حل به كرب عظيم واشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وعاف مبتلانا بحفظك يا رب العالمين يا ربنا أنت الميسر وأنت المسهل فسهل أمرنا وسخر لنا ما هو خير لنا يا ربنا وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقم الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So there is a person who would like to take the Shahada. So I was asked if I can do that now so he can pray with us. Of course, I'm afraid and concerned that the Jum'ah together, the khutbah and the prayer, they are together. It's very difficult to interrupt them. So even the brother can pray, and inshallah after the salat we'll have his Shahada. استقيموا إلى الصلاة يرحمني ويرحمكم الله سووا صفوفكم ولا تختلفوا فتختلف قلوبكم صلوا صلاة مودع. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربكم أعلم بما في نفوسكم إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وآت ذا القربى حقه والمسكين ولا تبذر تبذيرا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا وإما تعرضن عنهم ابتغاء رحمة من ربك ترجوها فقل لهم قولا ميسورا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. So the person who would like to take his shahada, please come. Stand next to me, and in the meanwhile, I have to read again. Between 1,000 and 5,000. And then we have the possible zone is holding a summer session to Boston Public School students, where our Muslim brother Ghayas Halwani leads the program. And also Sheikh Hassan Saleh and Sheikh Khalid Nasr are visiting the ISBCC tomorrow, Saturday, for a night of Quran reflection and nasheed. And also join us for this Eid for an amazing dinner and sunset cruise. So you need to reserve before, ahead of time. Finally, please stay vigilant and keep an eye out for anything or anyone that would harm our masjid. And if you see something, please report it to the administrators immediately.